I'm Jonathan and welcome to the Tamworth FC Social, a podcast all about Tamworth Football Club. It seems that the Lambs have signed a midfielder. Munashe Sundire has joined from Slough Town in the National League South. We'll discuss what he can bring to Tamworth's midfield. Meanwhile, the clean sheets keep coming for the Lambs, a seventh straight game without conceding for Tamworth, who are now 11 matches unbeaten. I'm joined by Brett and we'll be looking back on the 0-0 draw at Alfreton and making our Farsley predictions. Don't forget you can follow us on social media at TFC Social Pod. You can click subscribe below this video and switch notifications on to updated when we upload new episodes. So Brett, I guess the main headline from the Alfreton 0-0 is that seventh clean sheet in a row. We did say last time it kind of could have been any result. None of us were really that sure, were we? Are you satisfied with the draw?
Yeah, I am. I said before that I actually thought that a draw would be a good result, and a 0-0 draw against a team who are quite battling. We don't do well at the Impact Arena either. To have had the players that we had out through illness and injury, it's a good result. And one of the blessings of going up this season, we won't have to go to grounds like that again for a while, or ever again, maybe. Ground that's just not pleasant to go to. It's tucked away around the back of a housing estate. Not a nice place to go to.
I wasn't at the game, but I have seen video highlights. Seemed to be mainly half chances in the game. Jamie Jellis did have, to be fair, a really great opportunity first half. He headed wide from a long throw into the box. Then Alfreton, basically an open goal. There were two Tamworth players back on the line, but bit of a defensive mix-up for Tamworth. Eventually finds its way to the Alfreton player who blazes it over the bar. Jassing was way out of position. But aside from that, Alfreton hit the woodwork twice in the same move, but I'm not sure it's quite as clear-cut a chance as the open goal. Kind of think, like you say, with the players that Tamworth had out, probably Alfreton did shade it in terms of chances. You're probably happy to get away with someone with a draw and then, look ahead to the rest of February, right?
Yeah, and I think that's a sign of a really great squad as well. That if you're down to the wire with players like that, and you can still get results. We didn't lose that game, so as far as I'm concerned, after the furore of the Scunthorpe game, that's a good point away from home, a difficult place to go. And you look back at the end of the season, and these are the sort of games that win you the title potentially.
That's it, isn't it? You just don't know what will be the crucial point or points at the end of the season. I did notice as well, and I must mention this every time we do an episode about Tom Tonk's long throws. Alfreton seem to have their own long throw specialist. I think it was in the second half, bit of an air shot from Alfreton, a huge throw into the box. If their player got any sort of good contact on it, that at the very least is on target and possibly goes in. So sort of another, I suppose, tick in the column of good 0-0 for Tamworth. The other headline, I suppose, is the unbeaten run keeps going as well. 11 now for Tamworth. That is an incredible run, isn't it?
It's even better that we've not conceded either since New Year's Day, is it? Boxing Day?
The last game of 2023, wasn't it, against Rushall, that very early goal in the away game. Scunthorpe, of course, drew at Blythe on Tuesday evening, a late equaliser for Blythe, and that game ended 1-1. And crucially for Tamworth, one of Scunthorpe's games in hand that was. So just the one game in hand now for Scunthorpe over Tamworth.
Yeah, I enjoyed that very late equaliser. Enjoyed that a lot, considering Scunthorpe also had a goal disallowed. I mean, actually, Blythe itself is quite a difficult place to go to. I think we've been there before and not had good results. But yeah, no, really happy. I wouldn't even say Blythe did us a favour because at the end of the day, we're in the driving seat. But it's good to see Scunthorpe go into places like that and losing points. It's also good to see the fans self-combust on social media as well, where they lose any kind of points and they just go absolutely berserk. So I enjoy that as well.
Winning away on a midweek evening is not as easy as it looks, is it?
Apparently not.
I'm sure we're opening ourselves up to a bit of stick by, saying we're looking at Scunthorpe's results, but I still think we're probably in that stage where it is a consideration, isn't it? It's inevitable when you're so far in front in first place, just to have a quick glance when your main rivals essentially in the division are playing.
Yeah, of course. I mean, look, there's 14 games left for us to play now. So it's for us to not lose our games and keep ticking the wins over, which I'm sure we will. And that's where additions of Munashe Sundire from Slough are just going to further help us get those wins.
So that's a good segue, actually, Brett. So it does seem that Tamworth have signed Munashe Sundire from Slough Town. Haven't, at the time of recording, seen any confirmation from Tamworth, but the Slough player manager has confirmed it on his Twitter page, and Slough themselves have confirmed that he's been sold to a National League North team. So I think, all things considered, we can be pretty confident he's going to be confirmed at Tamworth soon. Judging on from what I've seen on social media response from Slough's fans, they seem absolutely devastated that he's gone. And the Slough player manager himself on social media, this is what he posted. So he said, "Can't even pretend that this one doesn't hurt. Being one of the first names on the team sheet every week since August. A great lad and a top player that I'm gutted to be losing, but I wish you well." It couldn't really get much more glowing of a sort of farewell than that from a boss. Pretty exciting signing by the sounds of it.
Yeah, and I think we've obviously managed to lure him away with the potential of National League football next season, assuming he's based a little further south. So, he's not going to be expecting to be going up to Blyth and Scarborough, and Darlington will be going down. So, but places like that next season, every week. So, I think that just again shows the ambition that we've got, that we'll go to teams like that, make a 7-day approach, and say, "Come on, play for us. We're going up. We're going to be playing in the National League, in the National League next year."
Feels to me like a statement of intent, because I don't think Slough, not that I know tons about the club, but judging on their league position, they're not a terrible side. They feasibly could get into the playoffs in the south. And as well, you would think this is a player who is being signed for the next division up for Tamworth, which is great to see.
Yeah, again, I don't really know loads about Slough myself either, but they are very much a club that's sort of on an upward trend as well. They've got a fairly newly developed ground. They only came up into the south a couple of years ago. So the fact that obviously people like this want to come to us, because he could quite easily have gone to, you look at Maidstone, they're doing well. They could go up. They could quite easily have gone to a team like that, or a team around that area that's already in the national. So the fact that he's wanted to go to Tamworth, it tells you two things really. Peaks is really good. Well, it tells you a number of things. That Peaks is obviously really good at getting players in and getting people to buy into the way that he wants to play and his vision. That he's got a good reputation, and then for the club, it also shows that we're a fairly decent. Well, we're a big club as far as I'm concerned. That we're a big club that is doing things and that people want to come and play for Tamworth.
Did have a little look at Sundire's YouTube highlights, which not always necessarily the best representation of a player, but I really like what I saw. He looks like a player who loves to tackle. He scored a couple of goals this season. One of them was a really, really good long range effort as well. So if he's got a good shot on him, that's a good thing to have in his locker as a midfielder. And his profile on the Slough Town website describes him as a player who can go in midfield or can play at fullback as well. So if he's got all this, variety to his game, he can play a couple of positions. This could be not only like potentially a Jellis replacement, which, on the face of it, you put two and two together, it looks like he might sort of slot in and do a similar role to Jellis, but just be a good member of the squad. Say if there's ever really bad injuries at the fullback positions, you've got a guy there who seemingly can do it as well.
Yeah, I mean, the more positions that he can play, the better. I think the other good thing as well is that he's that little bit older as well. Like, he's not a young lad still plying. He's still trying to find his way and ply his trade up or whatever. I think he's around 27, so he's coming into his prime now. So he's got the experience and he'll have the knowledge and the brain of knowing what he needs to do. And if he can bring it over what he's been doing at Slough to us, then even better.
Do you see him as a Jellis replacement? I know I made the comparison just now.
Yeah, I'd say so. And I think the fact that we've made a 7-day approach as well for him, we haven't gone out and rushed and just got anybody. Because I'm sure there was plenty of people who could have just gone out and picked. We could have gone back down to the Southern League and said, "Oh, we'll go for this player," and it would just gone bust. There'll be players around there that will be floating around, not really doing a lot. There'll be people out there who would have been more than interested, again, playing for Peaks, playing for Tamworth. And it's probably better as well that we haven't gone out and got a loan signing as well. We ain't really going to have any real intent, just there to get a bit of game time, especially this side of the season now. We're already in February. You get a loanee player now. There's 2 months left of the season. How much are they really going to connect with the club and the fans? So I've seen a lot of people on social media saying that we should be asking for Chris Ray back. I don't really think we should. I think, one, if the club wanted him to stay longer, they'd have made more of a fist of keeping him. And I just think it's the wrong time of the year now to be getting players in on loan. Not players like that anyway, really. We need to be getting players who we've got an option of keeping for next season, who will improve or build into next season. Or we need to be getting in players like Sundire, who have got something to offer now and will just help us progress to the next level. But I don't think any loanees really is the right thing to do. So I'm glad we've done this. And we've taken another team's key player from them, so that's got to be a good thing.
Nice to have the continuity, whatever happens at the end of the season. If you can have the same core group of players together come the start of 24-25 season, that's got to be better than getting into the summer and maybe having a few positions where you're not quite sure who's going to be there.
Yeah, and I think that's what's held us back in the past before when we were obviously speaking off air about non-contract players and the wages and 7-day approaches and releasing people from contracts and this, that and the other. So absolutely. I'm sure in his head, as much as he'll probably say, he's taking one game at a time where he's focused on finishing this season, which obviously, yeah, he will be. But I'm sure in one aspect as well, Peaks now is making signings to think, well, what if next year we do go up?
I find it hard to imagine if you're a player talking to Tamworth at this point that you're not being sort of sold the idea of, well, look where we are on the table. It probably isn't that prudent a move then to go, oh, well, we're not too sure how this season's going to end. You're going full guns blazing, aren't you, now, to be ambitious?
We're not going to be signing players from, again, Southern League Central, bottom half of the National League North, just in case, just to release them at the end of the season, and then try and make a whole new squad of players from the Football League that have been released over the summer. So there's just no point in doing that.
Next up for Tamworth then is Farsley Celtic at home. They are one of these teams who are right in the middle of the National League North and at this point seem unlikely to be getting into the playoff mix, but also probably not going to go down. The reverse game in August was a 2-2 draw. What's your memory like of that one, Brett?
Well, that was obviously way back at the start as well, where we didn't really know what way the season was going to go either. I remember actually, because it was the second game of the season, first away game, 2-2 draw. I remember coming away from that going, that's a good result. If we're going there and getting results against those and not losing, that's a good starting point. And I'll be happy if we get a couple more of them as we go along. And I weren't the only person who said that either. And now here we are. If we come into playing these kind of teams now, it's kind of like a look how well we've done. Look how far we have come from the start of the season. because they would have probably got into that game, second game of the season, thinking, right, they've just come up. Yes, they're going to be on a high. They've just lost to Scunthorpe at home. This is the first away game of the season, and they would have been looking at that saying, right, okay, this is a team now that we can take 3 points off, cut them down to size, and no one's going to be worried about Tamworth in 3 months' time. But we just got that result there. Then we went on and beat Boston, and then we just flew from that point onwards.
I'm really like loving this part of the season, obviously for how Tamworth are doing on the pitch, but it's now at the point where it's the return fixtures of all the teams they played at the very start. It's just quite interesting to see the different fortunes of how things have gone. Like you say, you would have gone into the Farsley game with a totally different mindset, I presume, to how we're thinking of the Saturday game.
Yeah, definitely. It's mad, really, how quickly your mindset can change throughout the course of the season.
I'm going to presume that we're both on the same page and that we're expecting Tamworth to win on Saturday.
Yeah.
Because aside from the amazing run that Tamworth are on, just looking ahead to the rest of February, there are games there against the teams who are currently 6th, 7th, and 8th, which, Tamworth, there's a very reasonable expectation Tamworth can win those games, but obviously probably going to be a bit more difficult. I wonder if Tamworth are going to be looking to Farsley and maybe thinking this is a really good opportunity to get 3 points ahead of a slightly trickier run on paper in the next few weeks.
Yeah, I think the key games in February for us is Farsley on Saturday. We need to win that game, really, and I'm positive that we will. Hereford, because we generally have a good record against Hereford, and we've got a good result against them at the Lamb. And then Chorley, because we obviously smashed them at the Lamb on a Tuesday night. We've got them again on a Tuesday night at home, but since then they have obviously turned their fortunes well around and are right up there now. So they're the three key games for us, I think, going into Feb.
It's predictions time then. A reminder, in our predictions mini league, you get 1 point for a correct result and 3 points for the scoreline exactly correct. For the Alfreton game then, Brett, both you and Graham predicted Tamworth wins. The result obviously was that 0-0 draw, so no points for either of you. Graham is currently top of the predictions table on 16 points. Brett, you are just 2 points behind, so all to play for at the moment. No Graham on this week's episode, but so keen is he to maintain his lead in the predictions table. He has sent us his thoughts ahead of Farsley and his scoreline prediction.
I think it's a very winnable game for us. Farsley pretty good on the road. When you look at the form table, they have better form away than they do at home. But yeah, really, for me, a winnable game for us. We can go into it, full of confidence. Hopefully, we've got a few of the players that have been injured and picking up knocks and been ill over the last couple of weeks are going to be coming back into that game, and we've got plenty of options. And obviously we've got the new signing who's hopefully going to be available and can go straight into that mix and give us a new energy in that midfield, which I think we both said it last week on the podcast. We felt that that's an area that obviously we are losing that big energy from Jamie Jellis, and it's not a one-man team, but it's great to have somebody that can do that kind of similar job. And if this chap that we're getting from Slough is that, then that's absolutely fantastic, and it's an added bonus that we can get someone in so quickly. We can just keep on pushing on to, from where we are. So yeah, I think this is every game's tough, but we go into this full of confidence, and we're back at the Lamb, and it's a good opportunity just to get 3 points on the board. We had quite a tough game at their place earlier on in the season, 2-2. So they're no mugs. And we've got to be aware of that. We've got to be on our mettle. They've had a few surprising results this season. I thought they would be right at the bottom, if I'm perfectly honest. And I think the bookies probably put them somewhere down there as well, probably in a similar place to where we were expected to be. But I can't imagine they'll bring many fans either. They don't get many that go there. It's funny when I watched saw that Scunthorpe took a huge amount of fans there at Christmas, and it's quite funny, seeing their ground like that. But yeah, I think we go into it confidently and knowing that we can pick up a really good result. My prediction is going to be Tamworth 2, Farsley Celtic 0. So yeah, feeling fairly confident about it. I think another clean sheet at home, and looking forward to this game.
What are you going for then, Brett, scoreline wise in Farsley at home?
3-0 to Tamworth. I think we're at home. Got a new player. We'll have the crowd on our side. We've got a great record at home. Why not? We've got no reason not to give them a good idea. Beat Scunthorpe, drew Alfreton, which is as good as a win given the circumstances. I know we've not got Creaney, but providing the players are back. New player coming in, so it's something a little bit different as well that as far as you probably won't be expecting. I don't think they'll be able to live with us.
Does feel like Tamworth are overdue a sort of thrashing of another team. Been a few weeks, I think, because of the Warrington 3-0, wasn't there, in January, and then been a slightly tighter games since then. Would be nice to get a good big win.
Yeah, it would, yeah. Blow the cobwebs away. Just keep the engine ticking over. That's all it's about now. Keeping it going. Win these kind of games and then not lose the games like Alfreton.
That's all for this episode of the Tamworth FC Social podcast. Thank you for listening. You can follow us on social media at TFC Social Pod. If you've enjoyed this episode, please do give it a like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can do that by clicking the subscribe button below this video and turning on video notifications. Till next time, goodbye.